My name is Suzanne Foy, and my research applies the lens of peace-building theories to socially engaged theatre models seen as potential sites of conflict transformation in Northern Ireland. My introduction to life in Northern Ireland didn't happen in a classroom. It occurred on a stage in Derry, Londonderry, where I met some of the women who'd been affected by the Troubles and whose backgrounds and histories were so different that imagining them sharing a space, let alone in a public setting in the form of theatre, defied logic. They were part of the all-female cast of I Once Knew a Girl, the second production of the Theatre of Witness, a performance model that gives voice to the marginalized, the forgotten, and to those whose stories have yet to be heard. I remember listening to Therese speak about not being allowed to go into the front room of their house because that's where the men came when they were wounded. You see, it was a Republican safe house, but it wasn't a safe place for her. There was also the story of Anne, a former quartermaster in the Provisional IRA, and that of Kathleen, one of Northern Ireland's most well-known victims of the Troubles. On October 24, 1990, her husband, Patsy Gillespie, was taken from his home by armed Provisional IRA members, chained and locked into a van packed with 1,000 pounds of explosives. He was ordered to drive to a nearby army point, where the IRA detonated the bomb by remote control, killing Patsy and 5 soldiers. In that moment, I realized that had I been born at a different time and in a different place, I could have been one of these women. My research examines socially engaged theatre, which seeks to reinvent the way stories are told and who are telling the stories. In the case of the Theatre of Witness, real-life stories of ordinary people are woven together to form a collaborative theatre production that is directed by a professional director and told by the people themselves. Artist-based performance is another form of socially engaged theatre. Living theatre performances are based on research and real-life stories gathered by theatre artists, scripted by a playwright, and performed by professional artists. My theory is that socially engaged theatre provides examples of processes that create openings or space where questions that are important to community life can be put forward, and individuals and communities can find their own answers. On this last point, let's listen to Mary Moynihan, Artistic Director of Smashing Times Theatre Company.
We're not giving answers, and we don't see ourselves as being didactic. We're political in a small p, if you like. All we want to do is say, look at what's happening. We sometimes look at serious issues, but the feedback you get is that people find the work very enjoyable, and people have fun, and they get to know themselves and they get to know each other. And theatre is a fun medium.
By applying the lens of peace-building theories to socially engaged theatre approaches and practices in Northern Ireland, my research contributes to the deepening engagement between peace builders and theatre artists around the role of performative arts in conflict and post-conflict settings.